Welcome, everybody. When Susan told me, it's 5 years Shambhala House, I said, this can't be. It's just like a couple of years ago, the most. It showed how fast time goes, and particularly when we are busy with the right kind of work that moves us on the course of evolution. It's really the purpose of every life. Shambhala House has quite an interesting story how it came about, and it was a lot of courage that I needed to go into such a venture for several reasons. Of course, first of all, the whole legal things of acquiring a house, then the whole financial business about this, but also how will it work? How long will it last? Who will really look after it? Who's going to take care? And what if people get very tired of the commotion that creates always a situation with many people of different temperament, different character, different kind? So I was worried about that, and they're still here. So, but I didn't know that 5 years ago, you see. And people are enthusiastic often and say, oh yeah, I will do this, and then by the time I turn around, they've already forgotten that the original made it some sort of a commitment, and then really didn't stick to it. Little that people know when they don't do that, the repercussions that it has in their own lives. Because if you look around in your own life, where you had promises from people, and who kept the promises and who didn't in your life, then if you take the time to think back, have you kept all your promises? Have you kept all your commitments? Is it any surprise that somebody else doesn't keep yours? You see, karma is not necessarily that waits for another 3, 4, 5 lifetimes. It might, but it can also backfire very quickly right now in this life. So it goes without saying that I was just a little bit heart palpitation in the first year was, can they last another year? Well, after they lasted for 2 years, I relaxed and I said, I have enough evidence in the loyalty, in the sense of service, and the devotion and dedication to the work, and much of it even to myself, for which I was also very grateful. In my position, you meet lots of people, as I said before, who make all sorts of promises, never keep them. So I could relax, and that was fine. And now I take it for granted, you see, how fast it goes. Things work out, and you see, well, it couldn't be any different. We can never take anything for granted. What is given to us is really divine providence. And we must at all times be willing to give something back to life. You don't need to even be religious or believe in anything, but you have to give something back to life. You can't just take from life. And if you give back to life, then you'll be always on the receiving end. And when you watch this happen in your own life, you see how it works, and you say, yeah, I'll give something away here, and somebody gives me something else here. And I really have to give it away, because what would I do with everything? Now, 5 years of satsang here in Calgary, and 5 years of intense work, classes, building things up, collecting as many friends as these two have here. It's quite an undertaking. But the one story, how a large portion of the finances came together, is perhaps worth telling you. I had known here lots of wealthy people in Calgary. Their marriages in trouble, their sons and daughters on drugs and all this. So one day I'd be in Four Seasons Hotel, and waiting for somebody to meet. And here walks this wealthy man, and he said, "Oh, Swami Radha, are you expecting company?" And I said, "Yeah, somebody from the ashram, but you can take a seat if you want." And he said, "You know, I'm in a bad mood." So what happened? Well, he said, "I just lost $90,000 in the stock market." My face didn't move at all. And he said, "It doesn't mean anything to you, does it?" And I said, "No, you're right, because I wouldn't play the stock market. I would know something better to do." And he said, "And what would that be?" I said, "For women like your wife and your children to have a place in Calgary where they can go get help, and where from time to time I will meet them, because I would be committed to such a place." So, and he said, "You know, I wonder if that's why I lost the money. I've never given anything to you. And I'm very grateful for what you've done for my family, that we are still together and the children are not from a broken home." And he said, "I can give you right now $90,000, but here's a check of 45. This took a great chunk out of what the house was here. And, so of course the rest still had to be paid here and there. And it was very strange how suddenly people said, "Well, I'm not the praying type and I can't meditate and I'm too restless, but I want to help your work." Somebody else gave me, for the first time in 30 years of ashram life and really finding out if everybody in the ashram could have an orange and an apple, or how much food can I buy so that everybody has a share. Suddenly there came all this. And so this was a great amazement. Great amazement. And then what you have done and the success you have with it, shared with others. Always help somebody else too. Not from an ego point, not from a point of self-importance, but just saying, "Thank you, I know now what I can do here. Now she or he is in a similar spot. They may not necessarily have to do the same that I do, but I can perhaps stimulate by saying what I have done for myself." But the people who were serious, they were in an inner circle. And I finally saw that there were around concentric circles of devotees. And today I can see this in my activity too. There are concentric circles. There are people who give all and everything for the work. They understand that the tumultuous times we live in have to be counteracted by another positive, the forces of light. And thank you for helping, and particularly you too. And if you look at any purpose of your life, and many people have asked me, "So what do you make out of all this?" Yes, if I can anywhere find 10 people and awaken them, inspire them to seek that divine light for themselves in their own life. Just 10. 10 fingers on your hands. And each one of the 10 can find another 10. Then we can have something very definite, securely helpful in contributing to keep the balance with the dark forces that we can see all around us all the time.